There are moments in life when the world seems endless, unforgiving, and utterly indifferent to human will. Imagine running in the middle of the Sahara Desert, the scorching sun baking the sand beneath your feet, your body screaming for water, and suddenly, you are utterly alone. No trails, no landmarks, no way back. Now imagine losing everything: your fellow runners, your team, your direction, and facing 9 days of relentless survival, where each breath could be your last. How does a man survive the impossible? How does the human body endure when the desert itself seems determined to kill? We're about to find out. But the truth is far stranger than you could imagine. Mauro Prosperi, an Italian marathon runner and adventurer, was no stranger to extreme conditions. He had trained for endurance races, pushing his body to the edge, but nothing could have prepared him for the marathon to Sables, a 250-kilometer ultramarathon across the unforgiving Sahara Desert. The race began under a scorching sun. Thousands of competitors, tents, and support teams moved in a blur of movement and color, all testing their limits in the world's toughest environment. Mauro felt confident, strong, disciplined, ready for every challenge the desert might throw at him. But the Sahara has its own rules. It demands respect, and it punishes arrogance. On the second day of the race, a sandstorm arose out of nowhere. Winds howled like wild animals across the dunes. Sand whipped against the runners' faces, and visibility dropped to nearly zero. Even the most experienced participants were forced to slow down, squinting through the haze, trying desperately to follow footprints in the ever-shifting dunes. Mauro, separated from the main pack, tried to navigate. He had a compass, a map, and experience, but the desert is a master of deception. Every dune looks identical. Every horizon merges with the sky, and every gust of wind erases the path behind you. In moments like this, the Sahara tests more than physical endurance. It tests perception, judgment, and the fragile clarity of the mind. Hours passed. Mauro's sense of direction faltered. He realized he had lost the trail. Every landmark he had noted vanished in the sandstorm. The wind, relentless and blinding, seemed to mock his efforts. As evening fell, Mauro sought shelter behind a dune. The sandstorm gradually subsided, but the damage was done. He had wandered far from the race route and his fellow runners. The sun set, painting the sky in hues of blood and fire, but Mauro knew the night would be merciless. Alone, with only the cold night air and the memory of his training for company, he understood the reality. He was lost in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. He tried to rationalize. Follow the stars, he thought. Follow the wind. Follow the tracks of any animals. But the desert at night is silent, eerie, and disorienting. Every step was uncertain. The dunes stretched endlessly. Every sand ridge he climbed seemed to lead nowhere. His body protested. Blisters formed on his feet. His lips cracked. Every sip of water he had carried felt already insufficient. Hunger gnawed at him. Sleep beckoned, yet he dared not rest fully, for even a single lapse could mean death. The first full day alone tested every fiber of Mauro's endurance. He rationed water meticulously, taking only tiny sips at a time, mindful of the days ahead. He sought shade when the sun blazed overhead, hiding behind dunes, trying to remain inconspicuous to the desert's dangers. He scavenged what he could: salt crystals, odd desert plants, and even dew collected on leaves became sources of hydration. He avoided wildlife when possible, but the desert is home to snakes, scorpions, and predatory creatures, each waiting for an opportunity. Sleep became a luxury, but Mauro knew he needed it. Every time he closed his eyes, exhaustion threatened to overwhelm him. The line between hallucination and reality blurred. He began to imagine distant voices, mirages of water, tents, and runners, but none of them were real. He fought panic. He reminded himself, movement equals survival. Even when walking on shifting dunes felt impossible, even when sand seemed to swallow his feet with every step, Mauro continued. Each hour was a triumph over fear, each mile a testament to resilience. By the third day, dehydration began to take its toll. Mauro's mind, deprived of water and overwhelmed by sun, began to betray him. He hallucinated oases that vanished as he approached. He saw figures in the distance, fellow runners, race officials, but when he reached them, nothing was there. Every dune felt like a mountain, every shadow a threat. Hunger and thirst gnawed at him relentlessly. Yet, despite the mental and physical torment, Mauro refused to give in. He knew surrender meant death, and giving up was not an option. During this time, Mauro discovered an extraordinary inner resource: sheer determination and adaptability. He learned to observe subtle desert signs, tracks in the sand, direction of wind-blown vegetation, even the flight of birds. Every clue became a lifeline. By night, temperatures dropped drastically. Mauro huddled in depressions in the sand, covering himself with layers of clothing to survive the cold. The extremes of heat and cold became a cycle that tested not just the body, but the mind. Mauro's survival instincts sharpened. He devised a crude method to collect condensation on his clothing. He hunted insects and even dug in the sand to find moisture beneath the surface. Every resource, no matter how small, became critical. At one point, he used a piece of his race map to reflect sunlight and signal for help, though he knew the chances of someone spotting him were slim. Each action became deliberate, calculated, and necessary. Sleep, food, water, and navigation merged into a singular daily strategy: live to see the next sunrise. Mauro's body, pushed to the edge, continued to function despite the odds. By the fifth day, Mauro noticed a subtle shift in the desert. Tracks, animal footprints, appeared. Small plants, which he hadn't noticed before, indicated a potential water source nearby. Each discovery became a beacon of hope. He followed a faint stream, his movements cautious, yet purposeful. Hunger and exhaustion still plagued him, but for the first time, he felt a glimmer of progress. He realized that the desert, while merciless, was also predictable in its own patterns. The mental breakthrough was critical. Mauro no longer saw the desert as an enemy. It was a challenge, one he could decode, one he could survive. His hallucinations lessened. His mind grew clearer. By the seventh day, Mauro's body was in severe distress. His lips were bleeding, his skin cracked and blistered, and dehydration made every step agonizing. He lost coordination. Even bending to scoop water required immense effort. He stumbled upon an abandoned nomad structure, but it offered little, just remnants of dried food and a tiny puddle of water. Still, Mauro drank sparingly, knowing survival required discipline. Nighttime brought further peril: hypothermia risk, predators, and disorientation. He slept lightly, always alert, relying on instincts honed by desperation. Every decision became life or death. On the ninth day, Mauro finally stumbled upon a nomadic tribe. Weak, dehydrated, and physically battered, he collapsed before them. They tended to him immediately, offering food, water, and medical care. The world outside the Sahara would later hear of his incredible ordeal: a runner who disappeared into the desert for 9 days, enduring scorching heat, freezing nights, hallucinations, and almost certain death. Mauro survived not through luck alone, but through resourcefulness, discipline, mental toughness, and sheer willpower. His story became a global testament to human resilience. Mauro's journey reminds us that the human spirit can endure far more than the body seems capable of. The Sahara, an indifferent and brutal wilderness, tested every limit: physical, mental, and emotional. But survival is not just about endurance. It's about adaptability, focus, observation, and hope, even in circumstances where hope seems impossible. The desert did not spare Mauro. It demanded everything. And in return, it gave the world a story of unbelievable survival, one that will continue to inspire adventurers, runners, and dreamers for generations. If Mauro's story of grit, survival, and impossible endurance inspired you, then don't let it end here. Hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss the next unbelievable true life story that pushes the limits of human survival. I'll see you in the next video.